welcome back to Conquest of Planet Earth by Flying Frog Productions. I just want to cover three things before I begin that I didn't cover last time. And the first thing is the strength value that shows up on the player alien race sheet. This equals each one of the spaceships has a strength of 4. So that's what the strength value is all about. And I covered the intelligence. That is the number of event cards that you can hold in your hand. So that covers that off. And of course, how do you win or lose the game? Well, the way you lose the game is when you look on the resistance phase resistance card. If you get to 10, it means the Earth forces have indeed researched the super weapon and they blow you out of the sky. You lose the game. So this is the little tracker that goes along here. So that's how you lose the game. But how do you win? Well, you need to collect 8 terror points. And like I mentioned before, terror points, when you conquer a location, the green value, which is the population, transfers into terror points. And you can also create on places that have no resistance and no population. You can buy a terror point factory and put it on there. So the idea with every player in the game, you're trying to get 8 terror points. So if you were playing the game with 4 players cooperatively, you'd need 4 times 8. You'd need 32 points. Okay, so let's begin. So the first thing that happens, because of my special ability with the Vento Star Empire, is they get to do a collect cards phase at the beginning of the turn. So let me just look at the turn thing again quickly. It should be the first thing is the action phase, but my special ability is I get to do the draw phase. And what you can do in the draw phase is you can take one of the cards you have and discard it and replace it with another one. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to keep the 3 cards that I have that I went over last time. And so we'll go right into the action phase. And what can you do with your actions? Well, let's have a little quick look here. You can spend 1 action point to move 1 spaceship 1 space, or return a destroyed alien ship back to the landing site. And the landing site is the central location here on my board. And again, the human resistance starting point is up there. And another thing we can do is I can spend 2 action points to buy 1 alien menace token. And you can spend X action points to play cards. And so if we look at one of our alien event cards, there's a 1 here. It will cost 1 action point to play that. And if we look at this one, this would cost us 3 action points to play. So that's what we do. So the next question, of course, is, well, how do you get action points? Well, for action points, you basically just roll a 6-sided dice, and that's how many action points you get. And if you roll a 1, you get an event card. And then you roll again. So let's see what we get for action points. 6. Well, that is excellent. That is going to give me 6 action points to spend this turn. So really, the first thing I'm going to do for 1 action point is I'm going to spend this card, which costs 1 action point. And it says, choose a player, well, me, to immediately gain D3 alien menace tokens. So I guess we've unleashed looks like they'll unleash the land kraken, or whatever he is. What is that thing? So by spending that card, we're going to get 1 to 3 alien menace tokens. And a 5, so a 5 and 6, it's going to be 3 alien menace tokens. So that's a great start for us. I will take 3 alien menace tokens, add them to the 1 we already have. Now we have 4 alien menace tokens. Off to a good start. I still have 5 actions left. And so, with my 5 actions, I have these pesky little paratroopers sitting here in my space. So I'm actually going to move 1. I'm going to move 2 here. That's 2 actions. I have 3 actions left. You know what? 3 actions, so that's going to be 4 actions. I have 2 actions left. I think I'm going to spend those last 2 actions and buy another alien menace token. Which is right here. So now I have a total of 5 alien menace tokens. Okay, so that is basically all of my actions used. And now we're into the battle phase. So how does the battle phase happen? Well, we're on this location. So first thing we need to do is draw a location card. So we draw off the top of the deck. Oh man, this is bad. a U.S. Army base. So it has a population of 2, it has a defense of 3. That's not good. It says at the start of each command phase, if not conquered, roll a d6. On a 4+, put an infantry resistance counter into a random space on this board section. So as long as this U.S. Army base is not conquered by us, we're going to get one of these tokens, and there's a whole bunch in the bin. I'll have to dig one out every turn on this part of the board. So it's in our best interest to take this thing down if we can. Now when there's a token here, first thing we need to do is we need to defeat the token before we do the, and there's a 3 here, we're going to have 3 fights. So the first thing we need to do is fight the paratroopers. They have a crushing victory on a 5 or 6. Now my strength is 3 times 4 is 12, and his strength is 2. So I'm going to use red dice for me because I'm red, and white for him. So 12 plus 3, 15, and he has a 6. He didn't roll a 5 or 6 for crushing victory. Paratroopers are out of here. We killed them. And now we have 3 battles, or 3 fights that we need to do. And this is not a coastal space, so we just use the regular resistance card. We start drawing resistance cards. Oh my god. So first off, we pull a hero, a military hero, of course at the military base, makes sense. Add d6 strength to the resistance. Roll for this once at the start of the fight. So that's going to add d6 resistance. We keep pulling until we actually get a resistance. And here we get civilian infantry police. And they're a strength 2. Now they're a hard target. And some event cards have to do with hard targets versus soft. It says gains plus 3 strength at any town or city. Well, luckily for us, this is not a town or a city. It's a military base. Assault wins fights on a tie. So that's going to give them 2 strength. And now we're going to roll a d6 for the rocket scientist and see how much he adds. And that's a 3. So 3 plus 2 is 5. However, I have 12. So I'm red and he's white. So his 5 plus 5 is 10. My 12 and 4 are 16. So I wipe out the riot police, and the rocket scientist are toasted. That's 1 fight down. I need to defeat this place twice more. So let's look at another resistance. And we have a well-armed redneck. Plus 4. Okay, well, that's going to add strength to some more resistance. And also a hotshot pilot. Plus 2 strength. Adds 1 additional strength when helping an air resistance. Well, this is not an air resistance. So far they're up to plus 6. I'm going to have to check the rules when you pull more than 1 hero. I think something happens, but I cannot remember. And of course, now we have U.S. Army tanks of strength of 5. So it looks like they've got a strength of 11. That's pretty equivalent now. I have a strength of 12. Let me just check the rules quickly about pulling 2 heroes in a row, and I'll be right back to resolve this fight. Okay, so quick check of the rules. There is nothing in there about pulling multiple heroes, except they just add their strength together. So we are looking at a human resistance of 11. We have a redneck, well-armed with a bunch of guns. We have a hotshot pilot and U.S. Army tanks. So they have a strength of 11. We have a strength of 12. Let's see what happens. And my 3 plus 12 is 15. 11 plus 2 is 13. Again, crushed. We crushed the redneck, the tanks, and the pilot. That's 2 battles down. We have 1 left to defeat this area. Okay, and we pulled U.S. Army fighter planes. So they're throwing everything at us. And they have a strength of 6. Okay, they have a strength of 6. We have a strength of 12. Should be able to take them. And again, we roll a 5, and they roll a 4. So they have a total strength of 10. We have a total strength of 17. We have defeated the 3rd resistance of that location, and we have now just taken it over. So we take one of our conquest markers, we place it on the Army Air Base, or not, yeah, the U.S. Army base, and that place now belongs to us. All of your base belong to us. Well, at least this one. Okay, that is the end of what we call the battle, the resolution, exploration, and battle. So the first was exploration, we find out what is there, and the second is the battle. So now we are on to the draw phase, which is the last phase of the turn, and it means I get to pick one more event card, and the event card that I get is Eating Kittens. Delicious. Costs 5 action points to play, and it gives me +2 terror points. So that could be a game winner there near the end if I can somehow get 5 action points by having another really good roll. Okay, well that was our turn. And of course, after our turn, we go into their turn. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this little sheet, resistance phase summary. Each resistance phase has 6 steps. So the first thing we need to do is we need to draw a resistance event card. Now, top card, what we look at these are the same kind of event cards we draw for the aliens, except they do have this little red text box on the bottom. That's the only thing we look at where we're drawing a resistance event card. So we'll read that. It says the human tech track immediately moves 1 step forward, and you roll a d6 for every space stuff in play. Discard it on a roll of 1 or 2. Well, we don't have any space stuff in play. However, the resistance tech track is going to move 1, and that's not good for us. So it's going to move from 0, it's going to move up to the 1. So we take this little marker and we move it onto the 1. That's bad news for us. And you can see the 1 was in red. And what that means is when it goes to red, we have to add 1 resistance token to this player area and this player area. And so we roll randomly for that. So in the north sector with the historic monument, I'm just going to roll a d6, and that's a 4. So the 4 location is this one here. So it's going to be that one. We pull out a random resistance token. We get more infantry. It goes down here with the Marines, and the Marines get bumped into the center onto the historic monument. And for down here, I roll a 6. A 6 is this location. So again, we reach in, we pull out a random resistance token, and we get an infantry. And it has a strength of 3, and it's going to be placed here. Okay, so that's sort of out of sequence right now. However, because we did have that card move the human tech track up right away, we had to do that immediately. Okay, now it says check for location liberation. So what that means is if there was a location that I had conquered and there was a token now, resistance token on it, the conquest token would come off and it would be liberated. That's not happening. And now we move the human tech track. Well, it is now going from 1, which it was, it's now going to 2. And of course, if it gets all the way to 10, we lose. So now this is not a red circle, so we will not be adding any more resistance tokens to the board. However, now that it's past the little 1 here, we will be rolling to see if they get a human tech advancement. But let's get into the order of things and we'll do this properly. Resistance move, if any. Some of the resistance tokens, like airplanes and things, have a little move on the bottom of them. You'd roll the die, they would randomly move. But I don't have any of those on the board right now. And then there's the resistance barrage. If there's artillery out, or there's a human tech that allows airplanes to have missile strikes or something, they would take a shot at one adjacent, all the adjacent alien spacecrafts, but that is not on the board as well. And the last thing we do is we roll for a tech breakthrough. And to roll for a tech breakthrough, you roll a number of dice equal to the current stage in the human tech track. And if at least one of those dice is a 6, you draw a human tech card. And as I was showing you here, you can see there's 1. So we're going to roll 1 dice between the 2, 3, 4, and 5. Or 2, 3, and 4, we're going to roll 1 dice. When we hit 5, we're going to start rolling 2 dice. So right now we're going to roll 1 dice. If we roll a 6, the humans will in fact have advanced on the human tech track. Let's see what they get. Don't get a 6. It's a 2, so they do not advance on the tech track. Okay, that concludes turn 1. So we're off to a good start. We have 2 terror points already. We've taken over the army base. The humans have not got a tech track, tech advancement. However, they've moved twice on the resistance phase tracker. They get to 10, they win the game. We need to get 8 terror points total to win. All right, that's it. That was turn 1. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Join me next time for turn 2 while we continue to crush the human resistance and try to conquer planet Earth. Thanks for watching.